All right, and we are finally live. If anyone has already joined us, I am sorry for the delay, but what are you going to do? Technical difficulties again. Google just asked me, or rather Google Hangouts, which is what we're using for this via YouTube Live, just asked me for about a zillion permissions. Refuses to let me do this on my phone. But Tina, you still with us?
I am. Here I am.
Let me just lower the sound a little bit because the sound seems to be fantastic, unlike the video. Okay, so again, apologies for yet again being late. I'm sure we're gonna get this down eventually, given the time. Tina, thanks for joining us. You're a little bit in the dark because you've been having technical difficulties yourself on that end.
Yes.
I think we're all very wary of privacy and all of the possibilities in the online world. So both Tina and I tend to keep our cameras taped over our webcams on our laptops. And this is what happens when you untape that and you have to do a call. So, but we can sort of see you. You're our mysterious guest this evening.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Again, I'm just, I'm glad we have the technology to do this in the first place. So for anyone who has no idea what's going on here and why we're doing these live webcasts, a couple of months ago, I finally decided to start a project that I've mentioned to a lot of women, or that we've talked about in the past, or that other women have mentioned to me in the past, which is reinforcing women, supporting women in business and entrepreneurship. And there's just been this idea going around that we need to asking governments and companies and corporations and others to opportunity, and that we really need to start supporting each other and pushing each other forward. And most importantly, which is exactly something Tina's going to talk about tonight, is supporting each other with knowledge and experience and teaching each other and learning from each other. So I dubbed the project Building Better Business for Women by Women. It's a long name, but it does the job. It tells you what it's about. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing in these webcasts. And Tina is Tina's someone I really like to talk to, not just about this, but about other stuff as well. And you and I have somehow always, well, not necessarily always, but about 80% of the time, either ended up on all female things. Sorry, on all female teams working on certain projects, or we have ended up at female conferences and stuff, completely unplanned and unintentionally. So we somehow seem to keep circling back to the subject. By the way, I've had the flu Tuesday, so if I'm all over the place today and my voice is a little off, you're gonna have to bear with it.
It's a lovely task, but don't worry. Yes.
This loose and casual atmosphere really does remind me, and I just mentioned it on Facebook when I announced this webcast half an hour ago. I said, this reminds me of the mariachi place night, if you remember that.
Yes. Oh, that was so much fun.
That was so really much fun.
That was really fun. I think Lamia was with us, right?
Anna. Yeah, Anna was there, Lamia was there, and Hannah Kazazovic was also there from Bosnia. So that was a really fun, diverse crowd of ladies that I adore. And again, serendipitously, it was an unintentional girls' night out. And we should definitely do something like that again.
Sure, I hear there's lots of good restaurants in Belgrade, so I'll head over there sometime.
So, you definitely, we didn't hook up last time you were here, but you definitely need to. And I should be getting to Zagreb sometime soon, really. I just don't know when. It's my schedule. Speaking of schedules and being busy, you are you were the director of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center of the Zagreb School of Economy and Management, an excellent school in the region, by the way.
Thank you.
Among other things, you know what, again, introducing the women on this webcast is just, it's going to be horrific. It's going to be my worst job, seriously. You are, because you guys juggle so many roles, and you are one of those people that just juggles a dozen roles. So before I list those roles, could you do me a favor and could you list most of them yourself, and I'll let you know if you forgot any on the way.
Well, right now I'm teaching a class, 2 classes at school. Entrepreneurship, I have about 80 students from about 20 different countries. Because of Erasmus programs, we get a really high percentage of international students. So everywhere from Brazil to Hungary, Singapore, Italy, Germany, France, Spain, Mexico. So it's really very diverse, and I live 5 minutes from Zagreb, so I feel really lucky. And then I do direct a few activities and projects. I'm the national point of contact for the European Center for Women in Technology, and I'm the lead mentor for a few projects, including the Pixie Dust Project, which is founded by my daughter when she was 13, and now she's 16, so that's been going for 3 years, and it helps to integrate girls in STEM. And those are the things I'm doing mostly. I think the other interesting thing I'm really doing a lot of right now is working with our local co-working space called Impact Hub Zagreb, doing a lot of programming. So that's very exciting for me.
That's about half of the roles that you juggle. We'll get to the other later. We would also,
neighbor.
Yeah, sister, daughter, everything. Anything you can think of. And I'm glad you mentioned Josie, because we would love to talk to her for just a minute later.
Okay.
Josie is a pretty amazing individual, and your son sounds pretty amazing too. He's a little bit younger than Josie, and I noticed the other day on your blog that you posted together, you put together his first CD. Young man at, what is it, the age of 14, I think?
He's 12.
Oh, 12. Well, the young man at the age of 12 already has quite a CV. He's already got 2 pages full of very relevant stuff going on there.
Yeah.
So that goes into, the whole mentoring and juggling roles thing. But let's start with you.
Okay.
With the mentoring and your students and all of that. Let's start with you. So you hail from New Jersey.
I am a Jersey
girl. And there's just so much in between. Okay, tell us. You got from New Jersey to Dubrovnik first, I believe. And I'm sure there were a few more places in between. I know you didn't. I know you went to a couple of universities.
Yeah, well.
And then from Dubrovnik, you ended up teaching in Zagreb and throughout the region. So we're looking at the map here and we're trying to figure it out. Tell us what happened.
Well, it probably was planted in my DNA, since my mom is not a Native American, literally and figuratively. She's from the Philippines, and my father is Belarusian and Polish, and my mother is Filipino and German, and that's keeping it simple. So to say that I have some wandering DNA would be accurate. And what happened was I chose to go to a school which was relatively close to New Jersey, but 8 hours away in upstate New York, called RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology. And I did my undergraduate and graduate work there. And when I was in graduate work, I did a year in Taiwan, working for a television station. And that was kind of roughing it, because Taiwan wasn't hot and happening right then, and I didn't know Chinese, but I had to read Chinese to get around the town. But I survived, and that kind of struggle prepared me for coming to Croatia, because if I could handle that kind of rough situation in Taiwan, I definitely could handle it in Croatia, which was supposed to be a 1-year assignment. But 2 weeks after I landed, I met my future husband. And we've been together now almost, well, it's 19 years. So he's making a funny face at me now. So anyway.
Say hi to him for us.
Yeah. Hi. So he's the reason I stayed. And then we decided to raise our family here. And it's a very entrepreneurial family, except for him. He's more into the finance area. And so he's at the other end of the spectrum. And we just kind of were in Dubrovnik for 7 years. And then we had Josie. She lived there for 3 years. And then when I got pregnant with my son, we already started transitioning to Zagreb. And I called up Zagreb to see if the dean would like to do some online broadcasts, actually. And I ended up being interviewed on the spot. And he hired me to teach entrepreneurship, and I've been at Zagreb for 10 years.
So from your story now, I have 2 additional questions.
Okay.
First, you mentioned the wandering gene, and my family has that too. So I'm not familiar, but I've heard from other young women, oh, you know, I have an offer from South America. I have an offer, you know, even sometimes that to you and me might be really close. Like, oh, you know, I have it from London, but I don't know. That's pretty far away. Would you say that the supportive, and would you say that the environment that you were raised in was supportive of that sort of globalization and that sort of global and international experience?
No.
And no?
No.
What, mom wanted to keep you home?
No, I just think that, you know, it was more that, you know, when you're 18, you're on your own. And that's that. So buckle down and be prepared for what you want to do, because 18, you're on your own. So
if not sooner. Not sooner.
Yeah, so that's the way that was. It wasn't like they were saying, you know, go explore the world. No way. No, actually, they're quite conservative, honestly speaking.
What would you say to all of the young women now in the world? Because, you know, there are definitely things that you need to be concerned about, and there are dangers if you're a young woman and you set off on your own, you know, somewhere halfway across the world. But what would you say to them if considering taking an opportunity that they're either really passionate about or that they just like to try out? What would you say to them in terms of, oh, you know, that's too far away. It's too far away from my family? Or,
well, I think they have to do their research. You know, they have to be informed, and they have to be prepared. You know, so, and that's funny and that's ironic, really, because I wasn't prepared and didn't do any research really before Taiwan or Croatia, but I just kind of had faith that it was the right move. I had it in my gut that, you know, that I didn't feel barriers. So I think it's something that you know intuitively. You know, I so didn't want to have to follow somebody else. I wanted to make my own path, which is a troublemaker path, to be clear. And, you know, you just have to be prepared to take the responsibility. And if you're kind of a cautious person, then go to a place that is going to be a little bit more cautious. You know, that's it. So I don't know who that is, but that's another phone call. So I don't know if that's clear enough. If you want me to elaborate, you just let me know. Yeah, I mean, I think that girls in college, I'm constantly encouraging them to do like short-term opportunities to just get a flavor of it, or even as simple as networking internationally in wherever location you are, because that helps too, you know, so that you don't stay in a safe little pocket of people who yes you or don't dare you. So it's best to try to take on roles in your classroom and in your communities that expose you to real social issues and also diverse groups of people, male, female, old, young, rich, rapport, that's going to give you the texture you need to survive and adapt in different areas. So sometimes you don't even have to go very far to get that diversity.
Me down, especially with modern communications tools where you can really reach out to people halfway across the world and try new things and learn from them. There are a lot of online experiences now available and a lot of things they can try out. And I have to disagree that it's ironic that you're saying this, because again, this entire program and webcast is I tend to say teach other women about the many mistakes that we've made throughout the years, and a lot of them maybe weren't mistakes, but a lot of them were the right decisions, but I'm sure that we could find ways of doing them better. So it explained how you got where you got and the atmosphere that you were raised in, but did you plan on being a teacher, which is what you are first and foremost in all of these roles? You're a teacher and a mentor, an educator, and all that sort of thing. Were you looking for an academic and mentoring career? Or basically the question and the way that I tend to put it is, what did Tina want to be when she was a teenager?
Well, the thing is, when you're young is relative. So when you're young, you're exploring what you want to be when you grow up. And some people think young is 5, and some people think young is 10. And according to the European Union, if you're under 30, you're young. So I would like to say that, what I wanted to be, I am, but it took me a while to get there. So let me explain. When I was young, my father was an entrepreneur, and I had to work in the family firm from a very young age, and I had to take care of the household. So by 14, I had a lot of work experience, and my father really wouldn't let me get out of working at the firm unless I was working or productive. I had to have a productive activity. So I went to the School of Practical Philosophy in New York City for 3 years of high school. So every week I commuted into New York City, which was 2 hours away, there and back. And what else did I do? And I got a job doing catering. And I really loved working, but not working for my father. So I really thought, oh, someday I want to own my own restaurant. And so my dad hooked me up with some restaurateurs in Manhattan that I could meet with. And I met them, and they took me the back of the house. They showed me front of the house. And I'm like, yeah, I could do this. So based on that, I picked a college, RIT, which would allow me to and value the practical work experience I had from growing up as the daughter of an entrepreneur. And then when I got to RIT, I really loved it. And I think it was my 3rd year in college, I met this, I walked into the classroom, and there was a young guy standing there, and he was acting very conceited and cocky at the front of the room. And I was going, when is the teacher coming in? And guess what? That was the teacher. And I can't really remember what he taught. I don't even remember the subject. I just remembered, wow, I want to be a young, cool teacher. And so that got on my radar when I was about, I guess, 20. And so I knew that that would be there. But actually, he had mentored me, and he said, well, what do you want to be? And I said, well, I love sports, because another activity that was approved by Dad was that I could, help sports teams. So I helped sports teams in high school. Then I worked as an athletic trainer in college. So I was a cheerleader some of the time, and I was taping ankles and wrapping groins other parts of the time. So if you mash up my interest in sports and catering, that's what I started my early career in. That was sports and big event catering. So I was working at Ryder Cup, the US Open. I was putting on events for a small little organization in New York called Ice Hockey in Harlem. I worked for the World University Games, and then I went to work for Major League Baseball. So I did all of that, filled my love cup, and decided then I would go on to graduate school. And then it got me to Taiwan, and the rest is history. So because I was very.
I think we need to let our small audience recover from everything you just told them and everything that you apparently just managed to do by the age of 20 or your early 20s.
Yeah.
Which I think is fascinating. And I think something that we need to mention is that women like us might seem, especially like you with you know what you just told us and all the things that you do, we might, and I don't understand the reason, but it seems that we seem a little aloof
What?
to others. Yes, yeah, I've been told that, you know, I'm hard to reach, but you're so busy, but, you know, I couldn't do, you know, I couldn't reach out to you, I couldn't this, I couldn't that. And I've started realizing that, you know, when we say like, oh yeah, and by the way, I keep getting like, you know, when I tell not just young women, but, you know, young men in general, young people, and I tell them, well, look, you know, I once did that, and that just for the hell of it. Why don't you try whatever you're thinking about? And I get like, yeah, but, you know, you're you. Or you get that thing like, yeah, but, you know, you're lucky. Yeah, but this. And it's mostly, yeah, but you're you. You know, you're persistent and this and that. And I don't think people realize how hard we work for what, you know, whatever we do, that it doesn't just come easily to us, that we aren't immediately good at everything that we try, that, you know, we work on that too. And that a lot of the time we don't know what the hell we're doing, but, you know, we're doing it anyway, because the impression that I've gotten and what I've been told is that all of this seems to come easily to us. So I think it's important to mention right now that it doesn't. And I think it's important to point out that what you were doing was you were not just taking advantage of opportunities that presented themselves to you, but you were going after those opportunities.
Yeah, well,
You need to be prepared and the opportunity is going to come along. A lot of the time the opportunity won't come along. And you apparently had a great mentor in your father, and he apparently taught you to go and seek out that opportunity. So I think that's just important to mention to people that, you know, you can't just sit around and wait. And because some people, you know, especially because we're talking to by the way, we do have people following us from Southeast Asia and the Balkans and, you know, the US and all parts of the world. And we can't let them have that attitude like, oh yeah, but, you know, you grew up in New Jersey. You know, you just mentioned ice skating in Harlem and this and that. And, you know, that doesn't happen where I live. But I'm sure something does happen. And I think you'll agree with me on this. And I'm sure, as you mentioned a little earlier, out into your own community. And I think most people would be surprised with all of the things going on in their own communities and all of the things that they can learn and all of the highly interesting people they can meet in their own little neighborhoods and communities.
that's right. And, you know, it seems like there was a natural path. Everything I did was very natural. But there was a lot of zigzags and closed doors and dreams unrealized. And you know what? You have to say thank you to them, because then they won't get you where you needed to go. I mean, I remember working at Major League Baseball, being in my late 20s, and getting a job offer to be the first ever uh, outreach manager, you know, responsible for all Major League Baseball charities. They didn't mean to put me in for that job, but they did, and they created it for another woman. And then I was head to head with her, and we were the final two candidates. And I remember how exciting that was. And then I didn't get it. And I was like, but that was, you know, my job to get, but it wasn't created for me. And so that kind of pushed me out the door, because I had been there for 2.5, 3 years. And for me, you know, I wasn't advancing quick enough. And looking back, I just needed to be patient. But, you know, when you're young and impatient, you just, you know, make your own, okay, well, what do I want? And I saw beautiful, talented women in New York City with high-paying jobs, completely unhappy. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to trade everything for that career. I could have it, but now that I see it, I don't want that. So that's when I thought of going back to school so that I could eventually be a teacher, because a lot of my professors were encouraging me to do that. And then when I went back for my master's degree, they're like, Tina, do not go back into the workforce until you do your PhD. I'm like, no, I have to go back. I have to work. They're like, no, take an extra year now and do your PhD. I'm like, no, I won't need that. I won't need that. And here I am, 8 years deep into my PhD, like hopefully a month away from getting it. And, I knew what they saw in me, but I, again, was impatient and I wanted to pave my own way. So I'm not going to say that I could have listened to them, because I'm not so moldable, and I'm a little stubborn. And I think that you have to be in some ways. So it's really tough, because you can be bullheaded and not see things that are very obvious to people who love you. But everybody has to learn their lessons on their own.
Yeah, I agree. Those experiences are just gold. Okay, so an important question that we like to get through, regardless of the roles that women play, and I've never liked doing too much of that, the difference between a man and a woman and this and that. But the truth is, we are different, and there are different issues in each of our worlds. And one of the issues that women are very often faced with, whether or not they're married, whether or not they're mothers, and you are both of those and so much more, is that we juggle a lot of roles in society in general, in our families, in our communities. And you just mentioned a PhD too, so you're not just a teacher and a mentor and a professional and a mother and a wife. You are also still a student.
Always.
You juggle it all, and I know this is a tough question, but how do you juggle it all, and what is paramount in making it all come together somehow and making it happen?
Well, I know that a lot of feminists would not like to hear this, but I would definitely say my husband, he lets me get away with a lot of things. And doing your PhD for 8 years in a marriage is quite selfish, and I know it. So I have to let, the shout out to him for tolerating all the extra paper hoarding of all the research that only 20% is worthy of my time and attention. But to me, everything is interesting. And so he let me share my life with all this extra paper. So if I didn't have him and his patience, his kindness, his love, and his support, I couldn't do it all. And when I do drop the ball, he picks it up. And so does my son, who at 12 years old is a master chef. And I kid you not, he is amazing. And, my husband is a role model, because he allows us to just do things for each other. It's not I'm supposed to do that and he's supposed to do this. We have to do things to support the household. And so we all have very busy schedules. And, I'm just blessed. So I'm thankful. But I dropped the ball, absolutely. You have to drop the ball, and you have to bend over and pick it up and say sorry and, move on.
And you know what? I don't care what well, I'm not going to call them feminists, because I know who's going to complain. The true feminists are not going to complain. They're going to have full understanding for what you said. And this is not a PC webcast, so I don't really care what the feminazis say. I'm so glad that you gave a shout out to the men in your life who do support you, because I think it's I was talking to Zoya Kukic of Start It Center a few times, and I think it's really important to talk about the support systems that we do have. And a lot of the time, I'm a single mom. In my case, that's my older child, who does run to the store and take care of his sister when either we don't have a babysitter, or mom needs to go run somewhere suddenly, or when I just need to work. He keeps his sister quiet. And also, funnily enough, pretty much a master chef. His specialty is pastries, though. There might be something there. We might be onto something there.
Let's get them together.
But Yeah, I think we need to talk more about the support systems, and you know, I'm sure we don't do it deliberately. I'm sure that we all have this the sense of, I got to go out, I got to get it done. Let's just get it done. And we have the sense of when we're working, at least, you and I know that Natasha, whom I spoke to last week on this webcast, she also loves her job. So we also have that thing where we don't talk a lot about our personal lives and our families when we're in the business world or when we're being professional, if nothing else than for the simple reason that we like our job and our profession. So we're enjoying the moment. But I think a lot of people get the impression that, we sort of like do this on our own. We absolutely do not. Even I, as a single mother, definitely have a support system. So Tina, are you still with us? Because I think I've lost you. It seems that I have. So hopefully you'll be back in a minute. All right, let's give Tina a minute, try to get her back. What I was saying that definitely, hold on, I need to check if I need to add her again. Yeah, which I obviously can't do since we're broadcasting.
Hey, it's coming back in.
All right, perfect.
So sorry about that. I don't know what happened to the internet connection. Here it is. It's very strong now. So
all right, perfect.
Just to recap, I also should say that my husband is from Bosnia originally, and we were very close to his family, and I mean that literally. They live next door. And so when I can't cook dinner, my mother-in-law is cooking it for my kids. When I can't get my daughter picked up, she goes and picks her up. So really, when you have that kind of network, then you are empowered. And I was just talking to a woman here who runs a business, and we are always identifying that if there was a little bit more childcare support, then women could much more readily be accessible for workplace, part or full time. So that would empower a lot more women if that was set up better.
Yeah, I have to agree there. That is always an issue, and whatever you do. All right, so yeah, you and I love to talk, and we have a million things to talk about. We do have to move through this. Okay, so again, you mentor, you've really mentored. You just mentioned 80 students just this year. Just a teacher, you are a mentor. I know that you have a personal connection to pretty much each of these students every single year. We're talking about hundreds of students over the years. We're talking about hundreds, I'm sure, of young women. I've seen your relationships with some of these young women. Words of advice do you give your students, when you're sort of sending them off, when your time together is coming to an end? Other hindering factors do young women run into? How do you break down those barriers? And what do you wish you had known before you embarked on your career?
Well, I think for helping other young people in school or out of school programs, because some are more thankful when they don't have access to a college education. They're even hungrier for the knowledge. So, I do mentor kids, certainly the ones that go to my school, but I've lately also gotten calls from other schools, and I can't, help them out. But if a student from another university reaches out to me, I definitely help them out. And that has been so rewarding this year, is being a pure mentor to people that I'm not directly grading. And that has been awesome. And I have this one girl I can talk about in particular. I met her at a conference. So she had to have some type of initiative. She volunteered through her professor at an innovation conference, and I had a workshop in the morning. And you could tell that the participants at the conference were not going to come in droves to the workshops because we were hijacking their coffee time. So it was like trying to make a really intense conference. So there was conference and it was on. So even when there was coffee break, they had to come to a workshop. And I saw that coming. So I stocked it full with the different interns and student volunteers and made them come, and we had a blast. And this one girl, she looked like she could be my daughter. We connected, and subsequently we followed up, and I realized that she has a gift for doing data visualizations, which is a big part of my PhD right now. And so we connected over that, and we did a conference together, and was the graphic recorder of the session that I was moderating. So I think we have a nice little team going on. So I think what you do as a mentor is you can only mentor someone who is open. You may like someone very much. You may see all the potential in the world, but as a mentor, you can't really choose them. They have to choose you. And they have to lead and guide it, because you can't force a mentee to want to hear what you have to say. They have to take the initiative. And I think that I was a good mentee to the mentors in my life, keeping in touch with them, keeping them aware of what I was doing, not just talking at them, but really listening to their advice, following their advice. And those are the mentoring and mentee relationships that last the longest, is when you keep communicating, listening to each other, and knowing that each one adds value to the other, and it's not really a power dynamic. You might be enamored by your mentor, but at some point it has to shift, and you realize that you're giving them and they're giving you, and it's a really true exchange of value.
Well, absolutely. I love, you keep getting the thank yous when you're a mentor. And by the way, with the Building Better Business project, we have started mentoring young women, and there's actually quite a few of them. And, we're getting new mentors on board and trying to pair them up appropriately and efficiently. And whenever I do it, I get a lot of thank yous, and it's really tough to explain to them that you're really getting, as a mentor, you're really getting an incredibly valuable experience. And, with for me at least, it's also about keeping in touch with new things. And, I learn from my kid every day, and I definitely learn from the people that I mentor, almost as much, if not as much or more, as I learned from my mentors throughout life. And so, yeah, you definitely have to be open to the learning experience every day and in every way. Now, I have to ask you, is Josie around?
Let me see. Josie, can you pop in? Let's see.
I'd love to have her join us just for a minute, even though we are running sort of late, but we have all the time in the world as far as we're concerned.
Okay, here she's coming. She's just dusting herself.
Right. So Josie is Tina's 16-year-old daughter. Is that right? Hi, Josie.
Hi. Yeah.
So like her younger brother, Josie already has quite a CV behind her at age 16. Out a lot of different things. So Josie, you were also the representative for Croatia, just a little fun fact for everyone, for Croatia in the Junior European Eurosong, right, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2014, yeah.
Okay, so is singing something that you just tried out, or is it something that you might want to pursue in the future?
Singing is actually my life right now, and it always has been. It's my big love. And actually, these past few months, it's every day I've been singing. I've been going to the opera, I've been going to concerts, with my choir and for solo singing. It's wonderful.
That is great, and that is definitely something that the world needs more of. And by the way, you're in a great location for it. Eastern Europe is really good for voice training. So look out for those opportunities. But here's what I wanted to ask you is, again, I know you've tried out a lot of things. Obviously, you found at least one of your passions very early on, earlier than most people. How much has your mom been a part of that? How much has your mom influenced that? And how much does she continue to influence that?
Well, both of my parents have been such a big support for me, and they pushed me in a positive way, in my direction, and they've always been there for me and understanding. So I'm glad to have them with me through the journey.
Okay, that is great. And did they ever give you any, not pressure in the sense like push you to do stuff, but do they ever try to prevent you from trying new stuff?
Never, no. On the contrary,
okay, so they're pretty much open.
Yes.
That is great. So Tina, you don't say no a
lot? Well, if it's her path, I just let her, because I mean, her interests are not that diverse for us, but they are to the world. I remember she was getting interviewed by a portal, and they were asking her questions, and they didn't like her answers because she was being honest and she wasn't being cliche. And they said, "We're sorry, we cannot publish this interview with you because you didn't tell us the answers we wanted to hear." And that was just too bad, because I wanted
Really?
Yeah, really, really. They wanted her to say that her favorite subject in school was...
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. What could she possibly have said that was so horrific that they couldn't publish it?
Well, it was like a TCOM portal. Oh, shoot. Never mind, I didn't say anything.
Okay, nobody heard that. Nobody heard that. The connection broke. Nobody heard that. But go ahead, Josie. Again, we're really not PCs here, so feel free to just tell us anything.
I'm not used to these kind of live things. Sorry.
Well, you better get used to them if you want a singing career. So this is good practice for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, it's a portal based on technology, and I guess they wanted me to say that my favorite subject was something like informatics, or But last year I didn't have informatics, so I couldn't, and also it isn't. But I mean, because we aren't coming to the programming yet, so yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
But amazing that they wouldn't.
No. It was right around International Women's Day, and they wanted a little cute story that would hit all the buttons that they wanted to push. And she was out of the box because they wanted her to know exactly what she wants to be when she grows up. And her answer was,
well, I said that I didn't know, and that I kind of wanted to make a new career for myself to combine all of the things that I love. I just didn't want to be put in a box.
Okay, those answers actually seem fantastic to me, and they're a great discussion point for other kids. But oh well, I guess they weren't. I guess you didn't fit the mold, kid, and that's a good thing. It won't be easy, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So I'm sure you'll get it right eventually. You can stay with us if you want to, because I'm about to ask your mother some very interesting questions. And you know what? You're 16. We're in Europe. I think you can hear the answer to these. Know the amended Pivot questionnaire. I've sent it to you. So you had a little time to consider your answers. And again, this is a questionnaire that I've loved on various shows, and it's been popular online lately. And I first heard of it in high school. And for years now, I've thought that it was perfect for entrepreneurs and just people who are very focused on, whether developing themselves or their careers. So let's start with the first question. What is your favorite word?
Well, in Croatian or English?
Doesn't matter. We'll translate it if need be. What's your favorite word?
Oh my goodness, I thought I would be so quick.
So many to choose from.
I love words, so that's really tough. Okay, let me see. Well, maybe spectrum right now.
Spectrum. Okay, yeah, we mentioned that word earlier today.
Yeah.
All right, keep that word in mind, people. What is your least favorite word?
No.
I should have figured you'd say that.
Giving up.
Oh, that's another thing we have in common. And apparently our kids all know that. All right, third question. Or what?
Or quit.
Oh, quit, yeah. Even actually a word. It's not an accepted word in our household. We just don't use it. Okay, what turns you on creatively, professionally, and otherwise?
Diversity.
Okay. All right, that explains a lot.
Things that are closed.
Things that
Especially
need
minds.
opening.
Closed minds, just ignorance.
Yeah, that
prejudice.
is.
I
would have to agree.
They make me feel so sorry for the people who possess those adjectives and verbs, and they put so many barriers around themselves and the world because they only want to see it in their way, and they're not willing to see and have empathy for other perspectives and other realities.
And that is awful. And I think a little judgmental about it, but I think it comes from cowardice.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Okay, not my favorite question in this questionnaire, but one of my favorites. What is your favorite curse word? And again, in any language.
Does that even exist for you, really? Like your favorite curse word? Or like the one that you use the most? I mean, she doesn't curse that much.
No, I think
Yeah,
it's
I know
because
that.
my mom did a lot, and then
Oh, yeah.
she does it to be like a rebel. And so because my mom was so like rebellious that way, I always wanted to be more conservative. So it
Okay, but still, we're talking about a word here. What is your favorite curse word?
I don't know. No.
I don't know. I know what's going on.
No, Darian.
I closed the door. So.
Did you just slam the door in your brother's face?
A little bit. Let's see what.
A little bit.
I don't want him to say a bad word.
Answers. I love her answers.
Wait a minute.
BS.
Yeah. Okay. BS. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
That's a good one.
And you got to call it when you see it.
That's right.
See, that's a good curse word.
Yeah,
you got to call it when you see it. You need that word.
Very good. He's very good. He knows me. Good. BS. I'm happy with that one. If I have to say one.
Good. Yeah. The kids know you.
They do.
Okay. What kind of space do you love to work in?
Open.
Homebody.
Yeah.
Open indoors or like open outdoors?
No, look. So there's two versions. Sometimes I'm just in the corner of our leather couch with a low light on top of me and the laptop, and then I'm just there in my zone. Or I like to be in. I really love working in the Impact Hub co-working space because you never know who you're going to run into, and you're free to roam around. You are not restricted to being in the same place every time you go in. There's going to be newness, freshness, surprise, and different lighting, different people around, different smells in the space. And, it's pretty crisp and clean, and allows you to have a blank open space each and every time you go.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what Impact Hub is, their central spot there, their headquarters is in Vienna. I believe the whole story started in a couple of European cities, but London, Vienna. They have one in Belgrade here, which I also love. I haven't worked from there per se. I visit a lot, but maybe I should start working from there, because you're right, all of their spaces are very open, very large, very focused on creativity, on interaction, people the space to work, but also interaction and just that you sort of need to get the blood flowing. And so a shout out to from Impact Hub from various cities. They're doing a great job with that, and spreading to different cities every year. So if you happen to catch them in any of your cities, definitely give them a try. All right, so next question is, what kind of space do you hate to work in?
A closet.
Okay, hopefully no one's ever going to make you work out of a closet.
No, at one time I had to live in a closet when I was in Taiwan. Literally.
Oh, that's
I had to move several times, and one of the times I had to live in a closet. I really did.
Nice.
It was very tiny. It was a closet. I mean, I could lay down all the way, but it was someone's really physical closet. So
Josie, I think your mother is Harry Potter.
I don't know. She didn't know that story.
I'm pretty sure at this point.
No, I mean, I don't like. I would really have a difficult time with 9 to 5. You know.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine you in a 9 to 5 job.
I need to have my own beat of, I like working out of coffee bars, and every year I have my own place that would be called Cheers, because they would know me at least by face, even if not by name. And lately it's a restaurant down the street from us called Botashada.
Yeah, I met you in one of those places about 6 years ago. The Cookie Cafe. Yes. near the part of the university that you work at. So I believe that was Tina's spot.
Yes, it was.
At the Cookie Cafe. I think that's where we met.
And they sold and got a different owner, so I moved across the street to the restaurant.
Loyalty. That is another one of your great traits. All right, so funny thing, next question in the questionnaire is, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt? Attempted thus far, which is something I need to add for you.
Oh, well, I'm probably want to be an inventor. So I have some mentees who are good in engineering, so maybe I'll be an inventor.
All right, so patent pending. We're gonna look out for that, and I don't doubt that you will eventually at least influence someone to come up with something. What sound or noise do you love?
I love to hear any one of my immediate family members breathing when they sleep. The sound of their breathing when they're sleeping, and that I know that they're sleeping peacefully. Yeah. That is so beautiful to me. Yeah, and of course, my kids singing. Not my husband, but my kids.
Okay. So he's great as long as he doesn't sing. Okay.
He's not happy. Sorry.
All right. Oh, poor guy. All right. What sound or noise do you hate?
I'll pay the price later.
Okay. What sound or noise do you hate? And please don't say your husband's singing.
No. I won't. I will say I haven't heard it, but I've heard of it, and that must be my own snoring.
Thankfully, you can't hear that, though, so that's a good thing. You got to be deep.
I fear that they will record me at some time.
And you just gave Josie a great idea.
Yeah. On Snapchat, coming soon.
Snapchatting her snoring every night. Okay, what profession would you not like to do?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, there's actually a lot that I wouldn't want to do, but a lot of people have dreams of being an astronaut. No, I don't think I would want to be an astronaut. No, I'll leave that to somebody else. And definitely not a taxi cab driver. They have very interesting stories that they listen to all day, but I wouldn't want to. I'm not a person for being in a car and for a very long amount of time.
Okay, so no confined spaces, and
No,
generally you wouldn't want to do travel of any kind.
no, I wouldn't want to be driving any transportation. No bus driver, no aerospace, no plane, and no jets, and no
Yeah.
spacecraft. No, I won't be flying or driving anything.
Okay, and the last question, and possibly most interesting, and Josie, it is great that you're going to get to know your mother a little bit more through these questions today. It's all over, and you're done and gone from this earth. What would you most like to hear the people that you respect say about you?
That I always saw the best in them, that I helped them realize their potential.
So always the mentor to the very end. Unfortunately, those are all the questions that I have. Although, you know what, I could really keep doing this with you all day, and I hope that we get the opportunity to do that in private soon. We really need to get together. We really need to start working on this and a bunch of other ideas that I know we share or that we've had. Thank you both so much for joining us, and thanks to your family for putting up with us for this hour, and the boys for handling everything that they needed to handle so that we can have this time together.
Thank you.
I really hope, Josie, I hope to meet you in person soon, and Tina, I really can't wait to see you again.
Okay, we'll make it. Hopefully you either come to Zagreb for Advent. It's absolutely beautiful here, and your kids would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely need to bring the kids to Zagreb, especially Vuk. I've been so many times without him that I really owe him that trip. So I will definitely be getting back to you on that, and I hope we do that soon.
Okay, sweetie. Thank you so much.
I will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay.
As for everyone else, thank you for joining us, and we will be back next week, as usual, with one of two very interesting potential guests. We still have to confirm bookings because these are all extremely busy women, obviously, and I hope that everyone's enjoying getting to know all of the fascinating women that I've been very lucky to be introduced to and work with. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you again next Saturday, 5 p.m. Universal Time. And everybody have a great weekend. All right, bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, Tina. Bye.